All right, here we go. Taking a look here at the NQ on the PM session. I went ahead and I was tape reading this short here. I didn't take it because I didn't like how price didn't take the buy side liquidity on up here. I was kind of expecting it to pop up one more time, tap the liquidity, and then drop. However, that is not what happened, which it sometimes does that. So, should I have taken it? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I'm green on the day, not as much as I'd like to be, or even for the week. So it probably, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a weird day. It's Friday afternoon, low probability, but at least wanted to do some tape reading, maybe take a trade or two if it looks real nice, and just see how all this is working. Kind of looking at the chart overall here today. Let's zoom out a little bit. I guess I'll get rid of this. Geez. Yeah, my computer is slowing down. Don't like that. Come on. So what I'm trying to kind of take a look at here today is this reversal point we had, an AM rally, 9:30 opened up and it rallied pretty much the entire morning, more or less keeping liquidity intact. We have some equal lows right down in here that I'm eyeballing. Got this low right here. So the question is, if the AM rallied, is this a reversal for a PM reversal and decline, or is this just a short-term retracement to take out some of the lunchtime sell side liquidity and then shoot back up for a PM rally, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. You can see my arrows just kind of denoting what I'm thinking, not specifically levels or anything like that, but just more or less kind of what I'm wondering if it's going to happen. So although I missed that short that was looking pretty nice, even formed some nice little equal lows right there, and even that might have been an entry point, because with these equal lows, and you can see here's an inversion, and I wonder a little bit of buy side liquidity taken out right there. Not a ton, but some, that provided a continuation, because look at all these, tailless candles, liquidity voids, all kinds of good stuff, fair value gap to target. So the question is, how far down is it going to go? And will there be any trades to take? So I have a screen over here and look at the higher time frames. I don't know if I can change it. Let's see here. There we go. So kind of looking at the 4 hour, this 4 hour here from this morning, the 6 a.m. candle, man, look at that. It took this liquidity, but it's barely took it. So it feels a little bit more like equal lows to me. And in terms of the dealing range on the 729 for the gold block levels, we came down in that extension and rallied out of there. So we don't have, here's a SIBI. Just leave it as a fair value gap on this chart. So the daily, we already took the low, which typically indicates bearish continuation. And the whole week's been really weird. Let's check that out. Like, here's the weekly on the 30-minute, and it's just been ranging. Previous week high, previous week equilibrium. We keep bouncing off previous week equilibrium. So I'm going to adjust this fib retracement from the weekly low. Look at that, equal lows. Look at that. And we made a 50% retracement already for Friday. The weekly candle is right here, and look at that compression candle. Look at that. Came back to midnight open. The other thing I'm wondering is if we just range all afternoon. Given the week we've had, the weekly candle coming back up into this fair value gap seems a little unlikely to me. So let's look here at the 1 hour. You can see I have my buy side liquidity on the 1 hour. It didn't get tapped. I was anticipating a fair value gap on the 1 hour to form, but that didn't happen. And actually, I'll zoom in here. This has become an efficient, balanced price range, which kind of indicates we might go up, actually, for me. Coming onto the 15-minute, we tapped into a fair value gap right there. An inversion and a fair value gap. I don't think I'm going to combine these two. I just want to see that. And then let's go back over to the main screen real quick. Because look at that, we have some sell side liquidity taken. Here's a fair value gap formed. I'm going to pull up the ES, see if we have any bullish SMT. Doesn't look like it. So not sure I'd expect that to be the reversal point, if it is going to be. We do have bearish SMT. Let's kind of look at the time frame on that. Yeah, we have a pretty large bearish SMT, bullish SMT down here as well from another, I think a 4 hour or 1 hour, I forget. Saw that earlier this morning. Take that off of there. It's pushing up. Took that, bounced there. This is the kind of thing where maybe it fits all of my requirements. But say one, then maybe I would take it low risk with an eval. Tailless candle right there. What's the time? We're in a Hydra macro. I mean, what do I got? I got a eval loaded up, it looks like. Gosh, given that we didn't take that, see, that buy side not being taken is kind of the thing that makes me want to override the lack of an SMT here. So maybe just to scratch the itch, I can go in with something small. Not that I'm all about scratching the itch, but that, like, I think it's a good trade. It's just lower probability conditions, you know? So saying like minimal risk, scratch the itch. I don't like those tailless candles, but it's also been kind of ignoring them this week. Coming away from my entry zone, pushing up. Feel like it. See, like right here's another example of it just printing tailless candles and not coming back for them until later. But if we're bearish, obviously it's going to come back for them, even if it retraces deeply. I feel like for me, that would feel like a better trade. I don't think it would come back this low, but. And then maybe it comes for one of them, fills in this fair value gap. Looking for SMT. I won't like it if it takes that high as much. Where did my local? Hmm, there it is. There's my target. So closed above that, I'd consider this to be like an order block mitigate. Well, mitigation block, I guess. I just have a label for a breaker. This whole thing would be a breaker. Swept to high, swept to low, a real breaker. So, I could enter on this breaker if I felt confident about it and run my stop. If it wasn't for that dang tailless candle right there, probably a 1.5 kind of thing. R trade. Is it time? What's the time? It's out of macro. Shucks. So I could have entered there and still been within a macro time frame. So I don't know. Kind of torn on this one. See what the candles print and see if I feel anything one way or the other towards it. Didn't quite tap my entry. I also didn't press the buy button, so looking around, seeing what else I see. Oh wow, that 15-minute candle or the 1 hour candle doesn't have a tail. That makes me feel much more bullish. 15-minute candle doesn't have a tail. 5-minute candle doesn't have a tail. Yeah. We'll do it. Just a little bit of risk. Scratch the itch. Just an eval that's green today. Feeling like I can even already move my stop up. I mean, if it's coming down for this, I'm probably wrong. We have this inversion. Let's label that properly. Breaker. It's a mitigation block. We'll call it a mitigation block. It's not really a breaker. But some nice response there. Nice. Liking that. Look at that push. I'll take it. What I want to see it, I want to see it keep going. I do not want to see it come back because for me, when it comes back, it's then more of a manipulation. Like if it takes this and then takes this liquidity right here and comes back, that to me is more of a manipulation, and it might come running through everything. Um, but I'm still trying to figure that out and still trying to learn that. I find I move my stop to break even too often, too quickly, comes back, hits me at break even by like a few ticks, I'll move it up to here, to protect my position. Hits me at break even, like comes down to here and then continues on my way. And so I'll give it some room to wiggle. I don't like these tailless candles it's printing. I want it to come up here and tap this. You can see it was a few ticks away from my first sell order. I front run the exit a little bit, but even this was a little too uh, conservative. Or yeah, so I'm expecting that to hold. Sorry, I'm thinking. We have a fair value gap on the 1 minute here. Fair value gap. Tailless again. I mean, this is just nuts. Nice response on it though. Um, Man, these buildup of these tailless candles really makes me think it's just going to mess around and it's not going to hit the target nice and cleanly. I don't see any. We have this rejection block right here. Paint that red for a quick second. Oh, didn't even do that. I don't like the response of that candle. Rectangle, style, background. Just make it a little red so we can have that rejection block. Tailless candles. Jeez, low volume. At this point, I just kind of want it to run. Oh, I didn't even have my cell stop right.
Order filled.
Cool. So we'll take that as a W because even if it comes back on me for traces, I still have some profits, which is okay. It comes back, does this, does that, whatever. Given the lower probability conditions at the moment, I think it's okay. Let's look at those. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tailless candles on sell side. And over here on buy side, we have a 1 hour candle right here, no tail. 15-minute candle, no tail. 5-minute candle, no tail, which is high probability liquidity. The question is going to get there before it stops me at a break even. Whatever. This trade is like so small. Ooh, pardon me. I need to finish drinking my coffee. Ah, homemade ice espresso. What are these? So yeah, I got those. So man, one there, one there. Guess I don't even care about that one because that's where my stop is anyway. And even just to document, this is the kind of thing where it's like I emotionally, even though this is such a small trade, don't want to put my stop down here and give it some breathing room to come for this tailless candle. But too many times I've already seen it where it comes down, taps like right there, and then rips for my final TPs. But given everything I'm also seeing up here on the higher time frames, I'm actually reasonably confident it is going to push up here before even wanting to retrace back down to this mitigation block. But we'll see. See what else we have in this area. All right, we got a new week opening gap or a new day opening gap up in this area. Coming right into it. It already served as resistance, pushing that down away from our original target. And first presentation fair value gap. So we just flipped that back into support right there, the green box. Oops, I wanted to turn that off. Let's look at the gold box levels, see where we're at there. Not that it matters a ton, but we're coming into on the 243 gold box. We're in the fair value gap zone. Okay, so the high is up here on the gold box extension. So this could push up into the high even, but I'm also good with what I got. being happy, being content. Oh shoot, didn't even pay attention. I was considering moving it up a little bit and just kind of dynamically trailing my stop and pushing my uh, limit order, but I'll take it. So that's another W for that account today. Cool. So what's that? Basically two W's this afternoon. I didn't do it. Well, I did okay in the morning session. I was green on the day. I got a little clicky on my eval account. Um, I just kind of care less about it. And so I find that it's the kind of thing where I might be like, I don't know, I think this order block and fair value gap's going to hold, so I'll long it, and then I don't, and then I do, and then it gets stopped out, and then I'm like, well, I don't care, I'll just flip biases and do one of those kind of things, and I'm trying to stop that from happening. It just started recently. I really don't have too much of a tilt problem. I've only done it like a couple of times where I've gone full tilt and really messed up an account. I did it last in November, I think was the last time I actually did that. And then I'm noticing the habits kind of creeping back in as I've switched over to trading more of my funded accounts and still working on these evals to obviously stack funded accounts to copy trade. The lack of caring for those evals is kind of forming a little some bad habits. So I ended up having to shut down my morning because I was just kind of clicking on that eval. I ended up still green by like $600 on it or something, and shut it down and had to come back. And when I came back here, I decided to turn on the live stream to make sure that I didn't do anything outside of my rule set, even if I was choosing to trade my eval. So yeah, target acquired. We got that buy side liquidity taken. We had a whole bunch of devil's marks up here. Well, tailless candles on the higher time frame. So now what? So I guess, does this mean my prediction was right that the lunch raid was here, basically? And at the 5 minute. So we had everybody in profit all morning long. Somebody had to be taken out to go higher. So the market makers, the algo, whatever, pushed the price down, rated these stops, and continued on for these stops, right? Order pairing. So pretty much on point with my prediction. I don't have really much of an expectation beyond that. I feel like given the 50% retracement on the weekly, gosh, this is I bet you it just my guess would be maybe it just grinds higher slowly or chops higher slowly from here. Let's clean this up a little bit. Don't need some of these things. What was the stuff we're looking at? It's possible that it wanted that liquidity before pushing all the way down for a PM decline. But just given the time, it seems less likely, you know? Usually like 11:30, 12:30 is kind of the reversal time for the PM opposing run. Not that it can't happen at 150, but I've seen it happen as late as 2:30, forming that, that'll form the tail on the daily candle is kind of what we're expecting, which the daily candle at the moment looking super bullish. Well, not super. It was looking pretty bearish, so compared to that, it's looking much more bullish. So what now? Does it have any? We do have an inversion there. Do we have any SMT? Might. No, at least not there. Let's zoom out a little bit. So this London high, we do have bearish SMT from this London high, 2:55 a.m. Right there, right there. All right, we have liquidity taken. We have a bearish SMT. We have an inversion fair value gap. High time frame liquidity has been taken. We are flipping midnight open. Hard to say. Which most days, if we get when we open up away from midnight open, we come back to midnight open for that retracement. Hasn't touched the inversion for a short yet. The only other confirmation I would like to see would be a higher time frame level. We have a 15-minute SIBI we're kind of rejecting from, kind of because it hasn't closed. 2 minutes to close that candle. 1 hour. I'm looking for something. I mean, it is higher time frame liquidity. It's not even look at. I mean, it doesn't even matter. Maybe it's not. It's not coming back to that for an entry. I probably would have done something like that for a 2.5 trade. Kind of thing. Look at that. It's not yet formed a fair value gap to the downside, probably. So we took that tailless candle, 22 seconds. So yeah, this will probably be a fair value gap right here. What am I looking at? Fair value gap right there. We took that tailless candle's liquidity. One more. I mean, they're just stacked. I don't even draw them all out. I mean, that's kind of a mitigation block to me-ish. We have a swing. Ultimately, it's at least a change in state of delivery, we could call it. I don't, do I have a SISTI? I think I have a SISTI. So with that combined with the fair value gap, I don't take SISTIs. I've been thinking about doing that more. Still would have given a 2.5 trade. Here's equilibrium of this local dealing range. I still think it's more bullish than bearish at the moment, given that we haven't come up into this premium zone on the gold bach, but it's also playing quite nicely this afternoon. I'm surprised after this morning it was not friendly. If it flips this fair value gap, then the retracement's probably over. So just tape reading this. I'm still working on kind of adapting to the market a little bit. Like here's an inversion, and it obviously didn't come back for a retest for an entry, but kind of stalking price and along the way finding that okay, here's the SISTI, here's the retest, here's the fair value gap, and then entering like that. And it's not my model per se. It's close. A lot of the other criteria met, but it's just one thing I haven't uh, practiced a ton And even right now, look at that. So we got it coming back for a retest. We have some relative equal lows. Feeling like it's just going to retest on this SIST and come back for those. But let's say, what would I probably would have partialed at about 1R is kind of where I tend to. So I personally probably would have put my stop loss back at break even. But I don't know. Let's look at this as a 2R trade and just see what it does. It comes back to this is what I was saying earlier. Comes back, hits my stop loss at break even right now, fills in this fair value gap, and then rips down from my final targets. That's the pattern in my trading I've been noticing lately. I want to work on improving my confidence so that way I can hold trades, let them come back against me more so than I'm comfortable with, and increase my return on most trades. Now, sure, some of them it'll come and bite you in the butt, but by and large, I've noticed statistically that happens less. So we've got a bit of a bullish volume imbalance right there. Hide that. So right here, flips this fair value gap, turns it into an inversion, and that's pretty bullish to me. Didn't come too far down into a discount, not even to equilibrium, which was somewhere right in here. Checking on the computer, seeing how it's doing, streaming. See where this candle closes, this 202 candle. Oh, I didn't check to see if I'm just tape reading. 156 would have been inside a macro window, so that would have been a valid trade for me. It's one of my criteria. I don't use all the standard ICT macros. I use some extras, but that one was in a standard ICT macro. Looking at the higher time frames, let's see what we got. 15-minute had a bullish rejection. 1 hour is a new candle. So we have the hourly open, which is right here, 2 o'clock hourly open. You want to sell above the open if you're bearish, buy below the open if you're bullish. On this candle in particular, I don't know if I'm bearish or bullish on this 1 hour candle. I'm bearish on the 15-minute. So that tape read short right there will come. See, I would have trailed my stop after, anyways. So probably to here, reduce my risk as price is moving away from me. I wouldn't tuck it too tight if I was trailing it, but so anyways, that one right there would have been a partial or a loss, just depending on if I would have TP'd at my 1R typically. So I'll go to there. I'll document this a little later. I like looking at these and just seeing what I tape read, because even seeing how many times I get a trade right, tape reading is helping me build confidence. So look at that. We have an inversion now. That's been inverted. Could just start inverting inversions all afternoon. I mean, targets acquired. So that was the big liquidity pool that I was looking to get hit for today. So if it does anything else, it's just extra above and beyond in my expectation, between this being the main target in the liquidity pool, and then also over here on this other screen, reaching the 50% retracement on the weekly candle at midnight open. And look at this week, just consolidated the entire week. We took Sell side to come back up for a Friday TGIF. Oh, wow, look at the 1 minutes inverting and inverting. Inverting and inversion again. Let's take a look. So look at that. So back to this guy. Had I not, quote unquote, tucked my stop and just kind of kept it where it was, I would have been fine in the trade. Again, I'm just tape reading this short. This volume imbalance right there. Oh, those already got taken with that, or filled with that candle. That's starting to look a little choppy to me. You see the zebra pattern? But we got momentum to the downside. So that still is a fair value gap. It didn't close above, so I wouldn't consider that an inverted inversion. Look at that. Trade as it was played out. Cool. All right. I suppose the question to ask is, do I think anything else is going to happen today? Is it worth sitting here, expending mental capital on a Friday afternoon? Pulling up the 4 hour. So the SIBI got rejected off of. We took liquidity here on sell side. Not by a ton. We still have, at least on the micros chart, a tailless 4 hour candle down here. Daily looks like garbage. There's that volume imbalance on the daily. I don't think I had that on my chart. Price, in my observation, really likes volume imbalances and liquidity voids. It's a magnet to them. Tailless candle on the daily chart there. Gosh, still hasn't flipped. The SIBI. So let's even take these daily levels down to the lower time frame, and oh wow, look at that. That lines up really well with the high of the range on the gold bach. And turn off these hourly opens. Don't need those. Yeah, coming up into resistance like that. Oops. Inverted that weekly fair value gap. I had that volume imbalance there. Nothing on the 4 hour. 1 hour, we flip that SIBI and do an inversion. So this short's just kind of taking its sweet little time, but it's doing it for value gap on the SIBI. Feel like I'm going to shut it down for the afternoon. I'm not seeing anything I consider a high probability target. This liquidity up here was what I had been waiting for all morning, and target acquired. So at this point, I feel like I'm just going to force a trade. Feel like this morning, nice push up, pretty much into lunch, and now we're just kind of ranging around midnight open. So I'm gonna call that a day. I'll take one win, start my weekend early.